Welcome to Moana's Medow Report. Today is November 8th, 2018. It is Thursday. My name is Moana, and my Medow Report is just a report on what's been happening, what the haps are. So the haps are, let's see, with the Dave Ramsey program, we're still at the emergency fund of $1,000. It is quite alarming that I'm 39 and my husband's 40, and we're just now this year learning how to save money. So I feel really shameful about it, but I'm excited that we're on the right track now because of Dave Ramsey. Also, because of Dave Ramsey, we've been completely great with being on time with our bills when it comes to utilities. It was really cool. I was paying my phone bill, and they're like, thank you for being a customer with us for 9 years. And I'm like, dang, 9 years? That's pretty cool. Let's see. And I like that we haven't gotten any notices saying, this is going to be turned off. Or we used to be so used to those 42-hour notices saying if you don't pay this amount of money on your bill, we will shut off your utilities. So we have not had any 42-hour notices even. So that's been such a relief, and that's all because of Dave Ramsey. Because of Dave Ramsey, we're doing the debt snowball. It feels like we haven't quite gotten that momentum of that snowball rolling down the hill yet, but that'll come soon, I'm sure. Debts smallest to largest. So right now we're still at 2 debts that we're focusing on. I still need to get our credit report, and let's see. And that's going to be interesting because on top of that, I need to get a secured card, and I think they pull your credit up for a secured card too. So I need to start adulting like that, talk to a loan officer on a secured card to start building my credit, because my husband just informed me that he would like to be a homeowner soon. That's exciting and scary at the same time because we've only ever rented since we've been together. We rented at an apartment complex. We didn't have pets at the time, and we did have an upstairs neighbor in the apartment complex that had a dog, but they didn't know how to handle it so you could hear the abuse. That was horrible, because when you call dispatch and complain and say, hey, can you get an officer down here, they say we can't send an officer down for a dog. Now if it was a human, we could send an officer down, and that was a bummer. Then we moved to a duplex, and we're like, oh my gosh, you mean we only have to deal with one neighbor? So that was amazing. We're like, from here on out, we will not ever live in an apartment. And so we really enjoyed that. And then that landlord sold the complex to the new landlord, but that landlord chose to stay on our side of the complex and rent out the other side. So we had to vacate. Then we moved to a house, and we're like, holy cow, now this is a life. We're in a house. This is amazing. So we thought we would just rent forever because we had, a yard. We had a really great price. Our landlord was fine with us. He lived far away, so every once in a while he'd stop by, and he would usually catch up with us and be happy to see me, happy to hear how we're going, how we're doing. And then he was dying from cancer, so he wanted to sell the house, and he knew that we couldn't afford it. And after, living there for 10 years, looking back, I'm just like, I can't believe we didn't set some money aside every year. Well, even every 6 months or every month, just setting some money aside. But again, we didn't know how to save. This is our first year. This is 2018, and we're learning how to save now. So that was really interesting, because we did have to move out of there, and now we're in a duplex again. And while we were living at the house, we got cats. So then when we moved into this duplex, it turned out finding a place with cats is really hard. It's usually a deal breaker when it comes to renting. When it comes to owning a house, I'm assuming you could just have pets because, you know, you see a lot of hoarding shows. I am a hoarder also. I don't want to identify with being a hoarder, but I'm choosing this year to change that identification and learn how to get rid of things and clean and things like that. So that's exciting. But I totally forgot what I was saying. But I do want to say that with the discipline on getting out of debt and saving money, and technically we're not supposed to be saving money for a down payment for a house until we're on baby step number 3, which we're not on. Dave Ramsey says you want to pay 20% down on a house so you could avoid PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. And also he says that you want to do a 15-year mortgage, which is not the standard. A lot of people do a 30-year mortgage. And Dave Ramsey's just like, no, you don't want your house to be a nightmare. You don't want it to be a curse. You want it to be a blessing. And if you do 30 years, then you're kind of dilly-dallying. He doesn't say it. My grandma says that, but and my mom. But you just want to get it out of the way. So that's going to be interesting looking into that, since 15-year mortgage is not the norm and 30-year is. When I start looking into it, I have a feeling that I'm going to have a lot of people pushing me on that, like whether it's real estate agents or brokers or whatever. They'll be like, why are you doing 15 years when you could do 30? And it's just like, no, I don't want to do 30. I want to do 15. I want to get it done as fast as possible. So that's interesting. I'm going to have to be very, very hyper-focused, very disciplined on staying throughout my entire shifts at work. I do know that I have strayed off a little bit because I got the High Performance Habits. I'm still waiting for that book by Brendan Burchard. It was, you get the book free if you pay for shipping. And then I pre-ordered Everyday Millionaires. I'm still waiting on that book by Chris Hogan. That was a pre-order, and when you pre-order, you get all these other things. So I was excited for that. I did a pre-order with Till Swan's Anatomy of Loneliness, and that was a pre-order, and you get a free guided meditation, I think, from Till Swan's, and I love Till Swan. I also got The Healing Self by Deepak Chopra and Rudolph E. Tanzi. So yeah, needless to say, I've been distracted. It's easily, especially when it comes to books. Oh, I think I got out of focus. Especially when it comes to books, I can get distracted quite easily. So now from here on out, I need to just be hyper focused, because we're going to be saving money for a house. Technically, so we could be in a house or start the process of getting a house a year from now. And also I wanted to mention with the Dave Ramsey program, technically, he doesn't want you to start saving your down payment for a house until you're on baby step 3, which you would call it baby step 3B, I believe. Because baby step 3 have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. So, yeah. There's a lot of things going on. One of the main reasons why I was susceptible to getting those books is because I went to 2 conventions. I went to see Deepak Chopra, and then I went to The Powerful You. The Powerful You, I'm telling you what, it's amazing, and it looks like I'm going to go past my 13-minute time, but I wanted to tell you this real quick. I worked at a restaurant, and the manager at the time, I called him Uncle Jimmy. He had a wife named Jan Magner. He said that me and her would get along so much, because we like to talk about different spiritual things and stuff. So then what was it? I ended up meeting her in person when I worked at Home Depot. And then she told me about this thing called Tatwick Tides, and that it's a free class every Monday night. They bring in great guest speakers and talk about lots of amazing subjects. So once we moved to this duplex, I was able to go to those because I was not working for the two years. So I was going to those classes for about 2.5 years, I believe. And that's where I learned about Till Swan, because we watched a video of hers. And then, what else? Oh, and then this Powerful You thing, I turned out the first day of the conference, because that was a 2-day conference. The first day was fantastic. I went by myself from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. It was amazing. I took so many notes. I ran out of ink on 3 pens. I ran out of paper on 1 notebook. I met someone that we ended up sitting next to each other the next day too. So that was really fun because me and her got to talk about a lot of things. And then I even gave her a ride home. That was neat. But what was I saying? Okay. So at the very end of the second conference, I wanted to stay a lot longer, but I wasn't able to because I carpooled with someone. But I make these little folded hearts. So I did a little heart, and I gave it to Tom Bilyeu, who was one of the speakers there, Lewis Howes, who was one of the speakers there, Jay Shetty, who was one of the speakers there. There was Mel Robbins. I wasn't able to get her heart, or Bo Lotto. He had to catch a flight, so I couldn't get him a heart. Chandris, he was really cool. I want to give him a heart, but I ran out of dollars to fold a dollar heart. But the people that held this Powerful You convention, it was so fantastic. Husband and wife, James and Stephanie. And Stephanie didn't like to go on the stage very often, but I noticed her standing off to the side of the stage because they were kind of, it was near the end, and it was a panel for questions and stuff. And wow, it was so amazing. So I really wanted to give the wife Stephanie and the husband James a heart. So I had the 2 different hearts to give to them. And the person that was standing next to Stephanie, oh yeah, the whole reason why I was telling you the story, I was like, Jen, you need to come to this convention. There was, it's day 2 of the convention. There was a benefactor that paid for 1,000 tickets, and I want you to have a ticket. So she hits me back up. She's like, oh, I actually don't live in Utah anymore. Thank you for the thought. And plus, if I wanted to go, my son-in-law and my daughter volunteered there, so I would have been able to get tickets all by myself. So I was like, ah. So the funny thing is, when I was waiting to talk to Stephanie, and Jen is a redhead, she goes by Aaliyah Ariel is her other name. Thank you, Aaliyah Ariel, if you're watching. But so I hand the hearts to Stephanie to say, here's one for you and your husband, the people that created this conference. And then the person standing next to her, I was like, oh, here's a heart for you too, and my name is Moana. She's like, Moana, my mom, I hear about you all the time. My mom is Jen. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it was like so serendipitous, so fun, lots of motivation. So on that note, if you intend on going to a conference, reading any books, or just doing fun things for yourself, even trying to get out of debt, I wish you the best of luck. Stay meowsing and meow.